Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield. Happy Thursday, everybody. We are in the thick of the end of the regular season for Major League Baseball. I am on pins and needles watching the San Francisco Giants play every day right now. Maybe 2-game lead on the Los Angeles Dodgers at the top of the NL West. As of this recording, we'll see what the situation is when the show comes out and Wednesday night's games have been played. But it's very exciting. Josh, I don't know. Are you following baseball at all?
You know, I loosely follow baseball, but the problem is I'm a Los Angeles Angels fan, which means by about the halfway point, I'm usually done following baseball closely.
Yeah, I want to ask you.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to ask you about this because I don't understand why this team is not in the playoffs every year. I mean, you have literally the best player ever on the team. The guy rakes every single year. He plays amazing center field. How does a team with Mike Trout not manage to get, whatever, winning the World Series is hard, but getting into the playoffs should be something that happens. Like, why isn't the management and the ownership going out and like getting a couple of stud pitchers to just get the job done? I really don't understand. Like, can you explain to me what's going on?
Well, see, Charlie, when you said, can you explain to me what was going on? I was going to say, Charlie, you and I would be a better bullpen than the Los Angeles Angels has. And then you said, why doesn't management invest in the bullpen? And then I say, isn't that the question? That is what is Mike Trout's contract like? Some obscene amount of money like that is the Mike Trout contract question of why don't you invest? And granted, Shohei Ohtani is an amazing pitcher.
That's the other thing. You have the two best players in baseball on your team, and you're not going to make the playoffs. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. It was funny because you said the best player in baseball, and I thought Shohei Ohtani, not Mike Trout. Like, that's what went through my head. But that's because Mike Trout also is injury prone.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like the thing about being an Angels fan, at least, like, you get to watching all of Ohtani's starts is like totally worth it, even if the team is not, going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Like, they're good enough to not be awful to watch.
Right.
Like, I always root for that. Even when the Giants have a bad season, I just want them to be like a 500 team because then at least I enjoy watching the games. It's when, team goes like 60 and 100 that you're like, no thanks.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, the Angels can beat anybody, but the problem is the Angels can also lose to anybody. So, I honestly, though, I'm rooting for the Giants. Anything that'll stop the Dodgers, I'm pleased with. Yes. So don't worry about that.
That is what we need. Even if it takes a strange alliance between Angels and Giants fans, everyone can agree that the Dodgers need to lose. I just want them to get into the wild card game and then lose to the Cardinals, and like the fans are going to lose their mind. Like, I go into the Dodgers subreddit when they lose games just to watch them melting down. And the Cardinals have won like 16 in a row. I didn't check to see what happened last night, but no one wants to play them right now.
No, they don't. It's like Chris Dickerson at this time of year.
Oh, God. All right. Well, we promised it. Let's get into it. Music City Open. And I want to zoom straight to the thing that people are talking about. Okay. So first of all, congratulations to Mason Ford. What a performance that he had. I mean, he really was super consistent. Played great every round. And, it felt like, after round one, I was like, okay, Mason Ford, leading the tournament. All right. Nice shooting. But, you expect a 3 under the next day and falls down the leaderboard. Maybe finishes in the top 10, but no, I mean, he just kept it up the whole time. He hit what a clutch shot he made on 18 in the final round when I think he was back of the box and Wysocki was inside the circle, and it's that big sweeping kind of stall hyzer shot that you have to kind of crash down into the green. And he put it under the pin. I mean, he put it right there. It was incredible. But let's get to the thing, right? So we go to the playoff, Josh. And it's Wysocki, one of the number one champions of the last 10 years, versus Mason Ford, who's never won an Elite Series event. And so, they're both on the green after their tee shot, kind of a shot out of the woods.
Ricky was outside, I think.
He was outside the circle.
Okay.
But he was like I think he was inside circle 2, and he was certainly in Ricky putting range.
Yeah, 45 feet.
Yes.
Like,
he left it short. Honestly, the shot looked worse than it ended up being.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, okay, I mean, it's a tough putt, but it's a putt that Ricky makes on a regular basis. And he steps up to the putt, and it looks like he laid it up.
Yeah.
Like, the putt was so bad that it didn't even come... It wasn't even, like, in the ballpark of being able to go into the basket.
It landed 5 feet short of the basket on the ground. Like...
A shocking miss.
Yeah. And Mason Ford's parked. Like,
Ford's right there.
There's no reason not to run this putt.
And you're in the playoff already, so you've already secured at least second place. There's literally no reason not to just give it a run. Now, here's what was weird about the whole thing. So people immediately start speculating, Josh, that Wysocki has intentionally missed the putt in order to, I guess, give Mason Ford the victory, who's his Innova teammate, and he's never won one. So like, what a good guy. Wysocki missed the putt to help out his, the young buck. That is nonsensical to me. Like, as a premise, like, how do you look at the way Wysocki played in the final round and the focus and intensity with which he was playing and decide that he was intentionally missing a putt that badly, that weirdly? It just doesn't make any sense at all. And Wysocki came out on Twitter and he said, I didn't intentionally miss the putt. I just threw a horrible putt at the worst possible time. So what do you make of this? Do you think this was just a pure shank?
Look, Charlie, I hear your logic, but for a minute, we're going to just put that away for the fun of the conspiracy theory. Ricky had already secured the National Tour winner, right?
He had won the points championship.
He was the points championship because of his placement at the Music City Open. Yes. So regardless of what happens in the playoff, he wins the bonus from the National Tour.
$5,000.
$5,000. Yep. Second, it is when Ricky walks up to that putt. If you watch it on the live coverage, there is almost zero time. Like, this is a very pressure situation, and he just walks up and tosses his putt. The other thing is, it didn't have any of the Ricky body English that you really expect. Like, Ricky has a very, very pronounced body English when he putts, and that wasn't there for this putt at all. And so, you can believe putts getting pushed down by wind or things happening, but it just doesn't even look like he gave it a run. It's the last National Tour. You've got Mason Ford, who he's his teammate, but more than that, I think it's just, like you said, like, it's a young player who has the last National Tour ever, and he's in this playoff. And, maybe Ricky's like, yeah, whatever, I'm going to putt this, and putts. And he's like, oh, shoot, it didn't go in. Darn it. Kind of like one of those putts you just kind of throw at the basket, never really expecting it to go in. But if it does, you're like pleasantly surprised. I'm going to entertain the conspiracy theory. I think it's more fun. I don't know. Just keep your logic over there in New York, Charlie. I don't want it over here.
I mean, it's just so shockingly poor of a putt.
Terrible.
That it's understandable why people are saying that he had to have intentionally missed it. The thing is, I think if you were intentionally going to miss a putt, you wouldn't miss it this badly. Like, it's too obvious. When tennis players fix their matches to get paid $50,000 by the gambling syndicate, they don't make it look like that. They're not like just on returns, just launching it into the crowd. They miss close. Ricky didn't miss close. He missed by a mile. I mean, it was worse than a layup. If you laid up, you would put it under the basket. He just completely shanked it. I mean, why am I thinking we've seen this same thing happen before? Was it Portland Open?
I don't remember this, so you're on your own here.
Somebody, and I think it was Ricky, missed a putt at the Portland Open. I'm going to look up the Portland Open because I want to know, was Ricky in second at the Portland Open? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay,
I really. Is this this year?
This year.
Okay. Well,
I'm remembering a moment from the Portland Open, and I can't remember if it was Ricky or if it was somebody else. Yeah, it was Ricky. It was Ricky.
Okay.
Because Macbeth was on the chase card, and he had a crazy heater round, and was at 20. And Wysocki and Eagle were tied also at 20, going into 18.
Mm-hmm.
And Eagle was inside the circle. It had a putt, but I think was inside the circle.
It was a pretty difficult putt.
And Wysocki was at the edge of the circle.
Okay. I'm recalling this
now.
moment.
Why am I bringing this up? Wysocki steps up to this putt, obviously a super pressure putt, and he putts it so fast. You're like, why did he putt so fast? And I think he missed off the cage low.
I think so. That's what I'm remembering too.
And it was I remember watching and being like, why did he putt it so fast? He didn't take any time at all to think about the shot. And Eagle makes a putt and he wins. No playoff. Macbeth and Wysocki tied at 20. This is the same thing, right?
Yeah,
he steps up to the putt and he throws it super fast and he misses it. Now, it was definitely a worse miss than the one from Portland, but the Portland one he should have make almost always. It was not a long putt, especially for him. This one was it's going to have to be a great putt. You have to get lucky to get that one to go down. So I think what we are seeing, Wysocki not comfortable in these situations and tries to go fast to avoid overthinking. And ultimately, I think it's costing him strokes.
And I think I remember talking about that. And I remember asking the question is if they get down in this situation in Worlds, is Ricky going to choke a little bit? Is that something that we have to take into consideration? And I think people were I remember messages that were what are you talking about? Ricky's a 2-time world champion. He's one of the greatest players of all time. But I think you might be right about this. I don't know. I'm interested to go back and look to see when Ricky's had other clutch putts over the past couple seasons, and then go catch the Jomez and see. Or I guess it'd have to be the live coverage, honestly, to really see how fast does he play that putt.
Such a brutal part of post-production.
Yeah.
The data that you lose from the inability to assess how a player is approaching a shot. Now, it's not always all lost, but a lot of times you lose context that really helps us understand what's going on. But I agree. I'm I know Ricky's hit clutch putts.
Yes.
He's hit hugely clutch putts. What's the one from a few years ago, right? The Raptor legs OG shot where, insane long distance. But in some ways, there's less pressure in that situation. I think you could argue the same thing is true here, playing against Mason Ford. But the putt was long. It was makeable long, though. It wasn't crazy distance long where it's just I got to just, there's no pressure because you're so far away that it's just go for it.
I mean, at 45 feet, you always joke Ricky gets within 50 and you're Ricky's got it.
I feel it was further than that.
Let me pull up UDisc.
I don't know if it's going to tell you. See, this is another annoying thing. Okay. I want to see shot by shot distances on UDisc.
Agreed.
Because now you don't know because it's going to show you that he made the putt from 5
feet. Oh, you're right. It is.
It's not going to tell you how long that first putt was. But I think it was a little longer than that. I think it was closer to 60. I mean, I don't know how we would know this.
I don't either.
Maybe it's written. Sometimes Jomez puts the little tracker down. Anyway, I think I do love the conspiracy theory. Don't get me wrong. Big fan of the conspiracy theory. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason Ricky would want to lose this tournament unless Mason was like, hey, man, I'll chip you like $2,000 of my winnings to miss this. But I do think that the Occam's razor explanation here is that Ricky just got the yips and has gotten the yips this season in big putting clutch situations, from circle's edge and beyond. Strange.
Keep your logic. That's all I gotta say. What about on the FPO side, Charlie?
Well, I mean, Hailey King, she kind of tried to give it away. Hailey King, it is crazy. Like, look at this final round. She birdies the first 6 holes and goes 7 under through 9 with no bogeys. And then in the back, she has a double bogey and 3 bogeys and only 1 birdie. And like, it's just all over the place with Hailey King. I think there was a hole that she triple bogeyed and also eagled or something like that.
Let me look. Hole 18, she triple bogeyed, but took a par. She took a triple bogey on 18 in round 1.
In round 2.
And then eagled it in round 2.
Now, to be fair, different courses. But still.
No, rounds 1 and 2, they both played at Cedar Hill.
Oh, wait, she also triple bogeyed it in round.
Oh, yeah, in round 1, she triple bogeyed Cedar Hill, hole 18, right. Got an 8 on a par 5, and then in round 2, got a 3 on that same par 5.
Well, the reason I was confused, Josh, is because in round 3, she also triple bogeyed 18 on a par 3. She got a 6. So it's like the wild roller coaster ride. Like, if you're a Hailey King, like, super fan, and you're like, watch all her rounds, like, the stress. You're like watching this like sublime play followed by insane mistakes that get compounded. She tends to make multiple mistakes on a hole and takes these double and triple bogeys way more than other players at the top of FPO. I mean, but she's so gifted as a player that it's just she can make up for it. And this weekend she certainly made up for it. I mean, again, she had ended up letting it be a little closer down the stretch than she really needed to. I mean, Sarah Hokum got 5 birdies straight in, a stretch where King took a couple of bogeys and, it made it interesting heading into the last couple of holes. But still, I mean, Hailey King dominating on the national tour this season.
I mean, above and beyond when you look at the birdie percentage, her and Sarah Hokum are the only two above 30%, and Hailey King's is 38%. Plus she's got the eagle. So exceptional play from Hailey King. I think though we'd be amiss if we didn't talk about another star player who laid an egg a little bit. Where's Paige, Charlie?
Yeah, you got to scroll down the leaderboard a little bit. Like, I feel like if you just popped in to the UDIS Live, you're like, oh, Paige must not have played this weekend. No, you just have to scroll. I'm wondering, is this her worst finish this year? She finished tied for 13th. I'm going to look. I have to assume.
Has to be. She almost missed the cut.
She almost missed the cut. It was actually drama going into the last hole. Could she miss the cut? Last hole of round 3. 13th is her worst finish. She was 11th at Texas State's.
I wonder how far back you have to go to find a finish that's worse than this.
I wish. That's a good question. We can look it up. Yeah, I wish that she hadn't won Masters Cup, because she went to 3 NTs this year. And remember, she's like publicly stated that she has beef with the PDGA and is like not going to national tours. But she went to Texas State's, took 11th, her second worst finish of the year. Then this NT finale at Music City was her worst finish of the year. But Masters Cup, she won. So it kind of spoils the narrative a little bit. How far back do you have to go to find a finish?
So last year, she had 13th at Waco.
Okay.
And then that's as far back, all the way back to 2016 on UDisc. She does not have a worse finish. So this is tied for a worst finish in the history of UDisc stats.
Okay, I'm gonna keep digging.
Okay.
What do you think was going wrong with her this weekend?
Well, real quick, one thing I do want to check. She took 16th at President's Cup, but that includes MPO players as well, correct? Back in 2019?
President's Cup is like the European. Yeah, it's not an individual event.
Right. Okay. That's
I wouldn't count that in my statistics.
I wouldn't either. So I wanted to make sure that I was on the same page as you with that. So I went back to 2016. Waco, 13th place, tied for worst finish. I don't know, Charlie. This was bad. Like it was so bad.
Strange.
It is. Let's look at some stats.
So I'm now at 2009. Still haven't found anything worse than 13th. 2009, she was still playing some MA1 or FA1, excuse me. Still nothing worse than 13th. 29th place at a B tier, playing in FA2, the Dynamic Discs Louisville Open in 2008.
There it is, folks.
She basically hadn't yet started playing. She just started playing Open Women at that point, barely. It was her third year as a player with PDGA stats. That's crazy. What do we see in the stats?
She had equal number of birdies and bogeys, plus you got to add a couple doubles on there. 64% fairway hits, not great relative to the field. 68% C1X putting. 25% circle 2 putting. She was 1.23 strokes gained tee to green.
That's what it is.
Well, 2.74 strokes gained putting.
Yeah, I mean, her putting was fine. It may not have been great.
It was good enough.
But it was fine. That's like, it was fine. Not her best effort. Certainly 68% inside of Circle 1. But still 25% in Circle 2. That's going to be one of the best marks in the division. But 1 stroke gained tee to green, where you have the leaders well over 10.
Yeah.
Hailey King at 15. Katrina Allen at 17.9. Macy Vela Diaz, shout out for third place. If you were like me, you were like, who is Macy Vela Diaz? Coming out of nowhere, top 5. Well, formerly Macy Walker. Congratulations on your marriage, Macy Vela Diaz. Paige just did not have it.
Mm-mm.
And I think was just sort of struggling in round
one. Shot a 1 over.
Shot a 1 over with the, top scores in the low, like 1 under. So a fine score really in round 1. But then in round 2, didn't keep up with the pace as players seemed to kind of figure out the course a little bit and started shooting 4, 5, 6 under. She shot a 1 under, so she's fallen off the pace some more. I just think sometimes you don't have it. And I think this weekend, Paige Pierce didn't have it. And I don't know if you want to call that because of the courses that sort of, demanded shot shaping more than, having distance be a big factor. Or if you think it's because of the weird national tour thing and maybe not having like a super focused approach, because the only reason that she's here is to like accumulate points towards player of the year. I don't know.
I have zero explanation. However, I want to give a shout out to Juliana Korver, who had the best tee to green stats of any other player this weekend at 19.37. Putter wasn't great, but that's okay because she had some great rounds. She had a 5-under in round 2. That was so.
Let me give you this.
All right.
Juliana Korver finished in 10th place this weekend. In the final National Tour event ever, the Music City Open, 2021. Go all the way back to 2003. The first event on the PDGA National Tour. Winner, Juliana Korver.
Seems like a nice bookend.
That's sick. I mean, I know obviously it would have been like the most amazing, incredible storyline of all time if she had won this event. But for her to finish top 10 with as much growth as we've seen in FPO, with all of the young talent that's coming up, almost 20 years later, to still be in the top 10 at the final National Tour event after you win the first ever National Tour event, that is amazing. That is amazing. Legend of the game, Hall of Famer. Gonna hear, I think, on the mic at the USDGC and Throw Pink Women's Championship, or I guess specifically the Throw Pink Women's Championship. It's awesome.
Put her on the mic at USDGC. Give the people what they want.
Speaking of USDGC, we've got an interview coming up right now with Jonathan Poole and Sara Nicholson from USDGC and the Throw Pink Women's Championship as we get ready for the tournaments next weekend. So sit tight. We'll be right back. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. On Friday, October 1st at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, custom programs reopen. So you can get over to pounddiscgolf.com and build the bag of your dreams, whether that's a Octadorp, a Carlton, whatever you like. Customize every aspect of the bag, from the colors to the zippers to exactly the way that you want it to look. So go to pounddiscgolf.com, make yourself an account, be ready because they sell out quick. October 1st, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Joining us now on the Upshot is the event director for the USDGC and the Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship, Jonathan Poole, as well as the founder of Throw Pink and the tournament director for the Women's Championship coming up next week, Sara Nicholson. Welcome to you both. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here.
So, Jonathan, how are things going as you get set up for next week in terms of logistics and, I don't know, ticket sales so far? And, how are you feeling about the event?
I feel great at the moment. This year is a little bit different after how unusual of a USDGC experience we had this year. It feels like we're kind of shaking off a little bit of the rust. There were many of our staff members that really didn't even participate on site last year. So we're getting our groove back. And excitement is, probably at, an all-time high here for spectators and, fans to get back out to the property. Ticket sales have been steady. All of the VIP options sold out in July, which that had never happened before. And, single day tickets are the only option left, and they're moving pretty steadily. And I think we're going to see that pick up, especially coming out of this weekend.
Sara, what does it mean to you to have this Throw Pink Women's Championship happening? Obviously, being able to put Throw Pink in the title, but also now having this after last year's Women's National Championship, kind of taking the place of the US WDGC. Now we have this event just for FPO players, qualification only, just like USDGC. How are you feeling about things and having this event kind of start up?
I'm feeling great. It's an opportunity of a lifetime for me. I'm a big women's sports fan, and through Throw Pink for the last 8 years, we've been teaching new women how to play. So this to me is taken a big splash into the pro side of the thing. So it's just, it's just as important to support the top women athletes because women have to see it to know that they can also be a part of it too. So this is huge. This is the next step for Throw Pink, and I'm really excited to be a part of it.
I found that the Throw Pink Championship, especially with the qualification system, and a lot of the controversy that surrounded the U.S. Women's Championship this year, that this tournament feels like it holds a lot of prestige, even despite the fact that it's really only in its second year. Do you believe that this tournament could earn the title of a major status in the upcoming future? And is that something that you're in the process of obtaining?
I would love for it to be a major. That would be a really big deal for me. I don't know that they can crown 2 U.S. women's FPO champions, so that could get a bit tricky. With the USWDGC crowning a U.S. women's champion, we couldn't also crown that. But I think that the women deserve as many opportunities as we can give them, and I'm here to work for them. So I hope that I'll get the opportunity to put my resources and my time behind growing the women's field and giving the top women athletes every opportunity that we possibly can.
Well, the big talk this week has been hole 9 and a picture going viral of the new posts right off the tee on hole 9, mozzarella sticks as they are. I'm not sure if that's, people like them or hate them or are indifferent about them, but everybody has an opinion. How have you been dealing with the discussion? Every year people talk about the course changes at USDGC. There's been a lot of people upset about this change. Do you like the change? I know that you're not the one setting the course, Jonathan, but how are you thinking about this and reacting to the way people are seeing it?
Well, I honestly don't pay too much attention, especially once you get this close to the event. There's so much going on. It's hard to see all that. I hear bits and pieces from other staff members who are keeping an eye on that. It really doesn't bother me. We've tried a lot of things over the years, and this is nothing new. I think I tend to side with a lot of the people who, don't like the artificial nature of the objects themselves. I get that. But our goal is to provide the best test and also a very fair test for the best players in the world. And, we know how they play this course. We know how they attack the course. We've been studying the analytics of the scoring for many years. And, we're always looking to put a challenge out there that, challenges their game, physically, their skill set, and then also their mental game. And to me, this is one of those things that's probably more of a mental challenge than anything. I've watched players, my office I have hole 10's tee is right behind me. And so if I look out the other window, I'm looking right at the said posts. And most of the shots that I see are coming right up through those posts and landing on the green just fine. So you just have to block that out. At the end of the day, everybody's taking the same test. It is what it is. These guys are professionals. So your job is to stand on the tee and pick your lane and nail the shot and move on to hole 10. But I get it. I would be curious to know what the conversation looked like if those were all trees, if those were all beautiful pine trees or palmetto trees or oak trees, would we be getting the same kind of, pushback? But I'm just glad people care enough about it to, that they're passionate about this event. And, so at least they're talking about us. Like, I'm all right with it.
I have a 2-pronged follow-up. First of all, I don't think that people would be as upset if they were trees. So have you inquired with Winthrop about being able to do landscaping, plant trees, add elements to the course that would be more on the natural side of the equation? And, as sort of like a second question there, have you considered moving away from Winthrop for this tournament sometime in the future? With, trying to find a venue that is a little bit more flexible to be created in a more natural style, I guess.
Well, prong 1, We've definitely had a lot of conversations with the university about what, can and cannot be done out here. The university has been in a more challenging position these last 2 years with the impact of COVID. And, there's been some turnover here and, things are just taking a little bit longer. Ideally those would be trees. I think there certainly is the potential for them to be trees in the future, for veterans of this event and who know this course and the history. I mean, hole nine is different almost every year. So I think if we feel like we landed on a hole design that worked really well, we made 8 longer and made 9 a really exciting par 3, that you've got a big VIP patio overlooking that green. So I think it's going to be a fun hole for spectators on site to watch. If we really like this design and feel like it plays the way that Harold and Andrew had intended, then I think we would naturally go to the university and say, look, we love this. We'll make this investment. Can we get the approval to do it? And they've, I guess part of the prong 2 answer is that, Winthrop has been an amazing host for now 23 years and, kind of 24 if you count the World Championships in 97. And, there are a lot of awesome venues out there that we could consider, but none of them have the history and the prestige that Winthrop has. And so, there's been some light talk about, other possibilities, but, at the end of the day, we know this venue really, really well. There's a lot of things dialed in. And again, just that, I don't know, I'd like to find this out at some point. This is the 28th major at Winthrop University. I don't know what the second highest major count for another venue is, but I suspect it's not even half of that. So, when you really think about moving away from that, it's like, man, would the Masters be the Masters if you held it at, Pinehurst? I just don't, so it's like, that's kind of what you just have to, you have to factor in.
One thing that we've talked about on the show, bringing up the Masters analogy, is we are kind of the opinion we would love to see USDGC in the spring, early May, and have it on the same weekend every year as kind of a kickoff, similar to the way that the Masters works for PGA. Is that something that, in terms of timing of the tournament, has it ever been talked about being moved? Is that a restriction due to university and host, or is it just not something that has ever been considered?
It's been considered. We really prefer the fall date, just weather in the Carolinas and just the way that we've settled into, the university schedule. This is a big impact. We literally take over their entire athletic complex. So when you talk about moving to a different place on the calendar, it affects an entirely different section of coaches. For example, so this works out really well for the games and the practices and the other things that are going on at Winthrop in late September, early October. Again, yes, we've considered it, but this is kind of our spot on the calendar. And like for me personally, I like being the season ending or near a season ending event. I'd say it's not zero chance, but I would say it's very unlikely that it would move to a different time of year or to a different venue altogether. That seems very unlikely at this point. And I would say that, just within the last week, we just reached a 3-year agreement with the university. So we've got, every intention of being here at least 3 more years in this exact same slot.
Sarah, how is the Throw Pink Championship this year going to be different, if at all, from what we saw a year ago with the Women's National Championship?
The competition side of things is going to be very similar, but what we can do this year is make a bigger impact on the charity and on the amateur side with getting more spectators engaged with the women on site, because we're going to have a big championship village and a big Throw Pink tent set up. We've got a lot of Throw Pink team members that are going to be in town, and then we're doing the clinic on Sunday after the event wraps up, and the top pros will come out and teach the amateur women how to play. So we weren't able to do as much of the spectator stuff and as much of the on-site fan stuff last year. But as far as the competition side of things, we hope to just take what was done with the WNC last year and just build on it and, make it the same and better every year. So that will stay the same for the women, but I hope to have more of a fan experience for all the women as well.
Is it safe to say that this is an event that we should expect to see every year going forward?
I hope that would be my dream and my goal, because we're doing a lot with the event, and I think it's great for the sport, especially the women's side. So you never know, but I hope to be able to do it every year, and maybe even a couple of times a year, maybe a big event for the amateurs as well, along the same kind of line as what we're doing for the pros.
This may just mean me not being as well informed as I should be, but does the Throw Pink Championship have a Monday qualifier?
No, we didn't this year.
In the
And
same way that USDGC.
yeah, we didn't. I that's my goal for next year. I mean, that's obviously, there's a lot of logistics and things to work out, and I have to talk to Jonathan and the crew and everyone. But that would be the goal for me, is for the women to do a Monday qualifier as well. It wasn't announced that way earlier in the year, and we were hesitant to make any changes to this late in the year to say, okay, now we're going to qualify, because then it would seem maybe like we were showing a little bit of favoritism towards the people already on the East Coast, not giving, women everywhere the opportunity and the heads up to get down here and qualify. But my goal would be that everyone that gets into the event qualified to get into the event.
So, you're coming on the show right after a substantial announcement from the PDGA that the Disc Golf Pro Tour is taking over the full Elite Series, that they're going to be helping with the operations of the PDGA majors, and basically unification, consolidation into this single tour, which leaves USDGC in an interesting spot where it is not a PDGA owned major. Obviously, Jonathan, you've been running it for many, many years at this point. How do you feel about this announcement? Does it seem weird to you at all to now kind of be even on maybe even a little bit more of an island than the tournament has been in the past, maybe the whole 17 island, if you will, amongst what is going to be a sort of very Disc Golf Pro Tour driven scene for most of the season?
It doesn't really feel any different to me. I mean, obviously super close with, many of the PDGA team members, and then Jeff Spring and that crew with, Pro Tour and DGN, was very excited to be in position to be able to be part of the Disc Golf Network lineup this year. That's something we just, that was a popular question in recent years, is why isn't this on DGN? And it just wasn't something that we could do, because we already had agreements in place with Vimeo, the same platform that DGN subscribers use. And we also had an agreement with, Fulcrum/AUDL, and we needed to honor that. So, here in the first year where we actually could partner with them, here we are. We've always been a PDGA major. I assume that we will continue to be a PDGA sanctioned major. I believe that, this kind of touches on the question about Monday qualifying. For the ladies, I mean, it's always a little tricky each year to get the qualifying process right. You need to get the right number of people eligible so that we get the ideal range of people registered for these events that really sort of suit this course. And so, the goal for 2022 is that most of the Disc Golf Pro Tour events would be qualifiers. I don't know how many they're going to be. It seems unlikely that all of them could be qualifiers. And in some cases, like if you have a Portland and a Beaver State Fling, for example, it wouldn't make sense. Like we would need to choose one or the other, just because we want to give, we want to have a good spread geographically speaking, so that the biggest number of people have the best opportunity to get in. So, I'm sure we'll be working closely with both entities to make sure that this is, the best possible event to support just the ongoing evolution of professional disc golf. So, I personally don't feel any different. I mean, I'm excited as a, 25-year person on the industry side, and 23 majors running here, and and as a fan since I found the game in 1993, I'm just excited to be in the mix and to be able to do my part to advance the game in a responsible way. So we're very content with all of the conversations that we've been a part of, and I'm as excited about the future for disc golf as anyone.
I wanted to touch a little bit on that media side that you had mentioned. I know this is something I'm sure you've spoken to in the past, but what prompts the decision to have the pay-per-view system for the USDGC?
Well, we went that route initially. We were just a little bit ahead of, DGN even really being a thing. And we went the pay-per-view route because it was going to be a one-time deal. There wouldn't have made much sense for us to offer a subscription service when we couldn't bank on having any more than one or maybe two, like we talked about, maybe including the college, national championship in that. But, it really just the nature of where we were kind of pointed us in the direction of the Vimeo platform and the pay-per-view model. And it served us really well. And, I've said a number of times, all of that money that comes in really is an investment in the advancement of disc golf media. It's not a money grab by any stretch of the imagination. That money that comes in, the support of the fans, goes right back to, the operators and the editors and the directors and the producers and the gear and, all that you need to do to put on a production like that. We didn't recoup even half of the investment 2 years ago. And then we did well enough last year to actually recoup what it cost, more than 6 figures to put on 4 days of programming. So it's not an inexpensive thing to do. It takes a lot of people and a lot of effort to be able to pull this off. And so, I always wanted to see media catch up, and I believe that we have. I wanted to see live media coverage catch up to the quality of the athletes themselves, the storytelling, the game, the opportunity. I'm a big believer in where we are going, and that just seemed like the obvious path to bring in the money that we needed to get to where we were going. We weren't, and now this is changing, I think, at a faster rate now, but you couldn't just go out to a sponsor outside of the disc golf community and get a cash sponsorship in the range of what you really needed to make a difference. So, we needed the fans to chip in, and I've always, not always, but I've wanted to see disc golf get to a point where even we, the players and the promoters, see ourselves as professional athletes, and we are running very well organized professional sporting events. And, the players don't play for free. Most of us don't work for free. Fans of other sports don't usually get to go watch the very best in their business compete for free. And I don't think that this should be any different. And so we're, kind of fast forward to this year and the arrangement with DGN, they, I think, are, have been intrigued by the pay-per-view model. That they're on the other side of the fence. That's not the direction that they went. So for them, this is a learning opportunity to continue to do what they've been doing, but kind of test the pay-per-view model and really see what that looks like. And we will continue to make good decisions and learn as we go, and go in a direction that we feel like is best for professional disc golf and the media that's around it. So, but for this particular event, to be able to bring everybody together and bring in more cameras and more operators, and we've got shows being mixed in the shack here on site. We've got the main live show being mixed in Milwaukee. We need those. We need that funding. We need that kind of support. Maybe we'll get to a point one day when there's going to be enough money coming in that will not be necessary. But in my mind, we're still all in this together. The players, the promoters, the volunteers, the manufacturers, the entire industry is still kind of all in this together. And, we still need to prove, I think that the programming is really strong now for the hardcore people, those that are already in the game, the diehards that are going to probably tune in no matter what. we're chasing the next level. I want to put on a show that just draws in people who may not have had experience with disc golf. They may be undecided. We still have to prove, like, we got to earn that, right? We got to earn that we can put a broadcast out there that's truly entertaining and truly compelling and runs really smoothly and professionally. And I think we're well on our way. And I think when that happens, the dollars from outside are going to come. And then, the sky's the limit for a game that is set up, especially right now, kind of hopefully on the heels of this pandemic. The game is exploding. It's a great time for disc golf right now. So, I think the stars are aligned for a lot bigger and brighter days ahead.
So a few follow-up questions with that. I assume then with the Disc Golf Network agreement, you kind of required that there's the pay-per-view model with that agreement. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was not a requirement. It's just talking through it primarily with Jeff and me. We just felt like that was the way to go. This event's different. It's very unique. And it has some things about it that are just going to be a little more, somewhat unusual from the typical stops along the Pro Tour. So, but this is a 1-year deal with DGN. I think are certainly in the spirit of the deal is that we're going to continue on for many years. And so whether it continues to be a pay-per-view model in the future, we're not going to know that until we get on the backside of this one and the dust settles, and we'll go from there.
So with that, you spoke a little bit about trying to create the kind of product that a casual or maybe not as invested in the sport fan would really truly enjoy. Do you worry that the pay-per-view model dissuades those kind of fans from watching though? And is that a concern that you have?
I'm mindful of it. I wouldn't say that it's a concern just based on the numbers that we saw over the past few years. If it may dissuade some, but we're growing. Again, my job is to make sure that the people who do tune in feel like they got their money's worth. And we've done that, and I believe we will continue to do that. So, it's kind of like, I worked for American Golf Corporation before I left to come do what I'm doing now. And, one of the things I kind of learned then was like, the people that come out to pay good money to play golf courses, they either see their dollars at work or they don't. And so to me, we're still early in this game, especially on the media side. So my job is to make sure you see your dollars at work and you feel like you got the value. I take full responsibility for that. So, that's my focus. I'm not worried about, if we lose some viewers because they're like, oh, I just can't, kick down a little extra to watch this thing. I understand, and that doesn't hurt my feelings. My job is still my job. And, again, I just kind of go back to, I believe we've been very good stewards of the money that's, flowed through this event, whether it goes back out to the players or whether it goes to charity or whether it goes to advancements like this, and I just hope that people will trust that and look at our history. I think if we were only in it for the money, I think we would have been called out before 23 years, So like we're cruising along pretty good here. If our intentions were not solid, I think someone would have caught on by now.
And last question, Sarah, is there going to be a proprietary FPO stream for the Throw Pink Championship? Will I get to watch, all shots of of the FPO rounds? Or are they going to do kind of the hybrid that we see on the Pro Tour regularly?
That actually would be a better question for Jonathan. I haven't been in on the media meetings, but it's my understanding that there's going to be 2 cards that the women will be live streamed. That was the last update that I received. Jonathan might be able to give you some more information.
Yeah, we've got 7 cameras. Yeah, we've got 7 cameras prepared to cover the top 2 cards of the day. And then, there's a plan to be able to drop back and cover if somebody is really making a move. We're preparing to be able to dip back and catch whoever's having a super hot round or whatever. And, so each day it will be 2 separate broadcasts. There will ideally be about an hour in between. There's one little glimpse of just back to qualifying and getting the right number of people eligible, the right number of people in the field. That's just one thing. You have one team of people, very expensive to double up on all your camera operators. So, our camera operators have to run through a very long track twice with, at best, about an hour in between. So it's just, you're looking at 2 full broadcasts, 2 separate commentary teams, separate graphics treatment, but 2 full broadcasts each day for 4 straight days. That's a huge endeavor for the number of people that we're bringing to the table. Back to pay-per-view. We need your support. We need that help so that we can get to another level. We need twice as many people running those cameras, and ideally we will have more of those cameras be wired and not have to put the same 7 people, through the test a day. So it's just a great example. But I love how we're set up. I love that we can showcase the ladies in that event in its entirety. At the beginning of each day. Then we'll have a little bit of a break. We can catch our breath. The viewers can catch theirs, and then we can get into USDGC coverage in the afternoon. Got
it. I don't know that this has been announced yet, so I'll ask you here. Who's commentating on the 2 tournaments coming up?
Well, we're very fortunate to have the same 2 teams back from last year. So Hannah Macbeth and Juliana Corver will be handling the ladies. Juliana actually qualified to play in the event, so she was torn, but I think she really enjoyed herself. It was outside her comfort zone to do that, but not only did she enjoy it, I thought she did great. Like, to me, she knocked it out of the park as a very experienced analyst. So she chose that route. And then on the USDGC side, it'll be Ian and Philo again in the booth. We've got Terry Miller grabbing interviews as players come off the course, and you've got Nate Perkins doing commentary. He's our expert analyst in the field. So, that's the lineup right now. I was really excited to bring the same team back. It's, all of it's going to look and feel almost identical for all of the people that were involved. And so I think that consistency matters. And so, we'll probably work some other people in here, obviously, as the years go on. But, we're trying to find our rhythm and get people comfortable, doing some of these jobs that are not easy. It's difficult to go live for 4 hours and just deal with all that can kind of come your way. So excited to have this group back.
Got it. Awesome. So added cash, or really let's just talk tournament purse. Have you decided on what the purse is going to be at this point?
Well, I'll speak for USDGC. We're in that 65 to 70,000 range, which, it's not going to be the biggest total cash payout of the year, but that's pretty stout given the size of the field. We're going to be around 100 players. So we're going to be comparable to, certainly for the top money slots, we're going to be very comparable to Worlds. We're not looking to go way above and beyond that. We want to be consistent with the other majors. I think the money is going to be really good, especially given how many total players are actually competing in that field.
And Sarah, how about the Throw Pink tournament?
I think the ladies will be pretty excited about it. I don't have the Throw Pink doesn't have the kind of funds that the DGPT does to throw down $10,000 on the winner of a match play. But for an A tier and for a 501c3, I think the ladies will be they'll be really impressed with the payout they get from the field. And their entry fees were only $150, so they were half of the entry fees that the guys paid. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I think we've done well with the help of US Disc Golf and Innova and the funds that Throw Pink has been raising. So I hope the ladies will be excited about it because I want to support them and I want to have them get pumped for this event every year.
Great. All right. Well, if people want to follow along, obviously they can check out the live stream via Disc Golf Network and the pay-per-view package. If you want to go in person, how do people get tickets?
I would go to you can just go to the USDGC website, same place, and go to tickets. That will redirect you to the actual ticket page at DGU. At the moment, there are only single day tickets left. There, last I saw, we were around 1,000 remaining for Saturday. So I think there's a decent chance that might sell out. So I would keep an eye on that. Please don't assume that there will be tickets available at the gate. They most likely will be for, the first 2 days or maybe on into Friday. But if you really are serious about coming out and joining us, and I hope that you are, I wouldn't wait. I would go ahead and snag your tickets, pick your day. At this point, we're not going to be mailing out any more tickets. They'll all be available sort of at the front gate when you arrive. And who knows, maybe you'll sell out. That would be exciting. I don't think we touched on this earlier, but our ticket quantities were really dictated by the available space that we had to park people in the various areas that we feel like were the most appropriate to park them. So we're going to be, I believe, at about max capacity from a parking standpoint. This venue itself can probably handle twice as many people easily. So I feel like 2022 will be the first year where, we're going to begin shuttling people in from remote lots so that more people can come out and enjoy.
For Saturday, how many spectators have you sold between, week-long passes, single-day passes? How many people can we expect there on Saturday right now? Do you have a rough number? 3,000
to 3,500. 3,500 will be pretty much maxed out. That would fill the Winthrop Coliseum parking lot with single-day ticket people. And, you got to figure, too, like, there's a lot of variables here. There's a Winthrop men's soccer game on Championship Saturday at 5 p.m., and we're responsible for getting all of those people in and out safely and making sure they have a place to park. So, there's things like that we need to take into consideration that might be a little different each year, depending on the athletic schedules. But, we've carved out every little nook and cranny to get people parked. We've got the VIPs parked in the interior of the course right next to, they've got a free 18-hole, really nice spectator course on the Winthrop University ball golf course. VIPs are on the interior of the course. Gold VIPs are literally, across the street from Championship Village and parked right next to hole 6 overlooking hole 5 green. It's gorgeous. And then all single day pass holders will be in the Coliseum lot, which is still kind of in the heart of the back 9. So, but yeah, I'm excited, and I think we're gonna continue to grow, consistently, if not exponentially, here in these few years to come, given the fact that the fan base has exploded in the last couple of years.
All right. Well, thank you both so much for coming on, and looking forward to the event as always. Good luck with everything next week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much for having us.
Jonathan Poole, Sara Nicholson with us here on the Upshot. We'll be right back. Diameter Apparel, sponsor of the Upshot. We all know the difference that confidence brings to the sport. When you're comfortable, you're focused and confident in your game. Diameter Apparel is for disc golfers who want to be comfortable during their casual, league, and tournament rounds. In fact, Diameter supplies team and trophy jerseys for many tournaments and events. Made right here in North America, Diameter Apparel's designs stand out and will inspire your best performance. Diameter is breathable, durable, beautiful, wear what the pros wear, Diameter Apparel. Check out their options at diameterapparel.com. Welcome back to the Upshot. Thanks again to Jonathan and Sara for stopping in. I always look forward to this event. USDGC, here's the thing that people don't understand, right? People are online, they're complaining about the course, and, look, I don't think I'm exactly a big fan of this new hole 9. The thing is, this is currently, and has been for some time, the most professionally run event in at least North America, I think. Possibly European Open is on this level. I have not been to it, so I can't speak to it. But let me just explain about USDGC. You can even hear, right, some of the conversation where they're going to park people. Mm-hmm. They're going to start, they have all of these special areas for only certain people. There's an incredible tea shop. There's food. There's music. There's very clear, like, areas where only pros can go. They have their whole own zone with food and like a place where they can sit and spectators cannot come and mob them. There's a sense of importance and history that permeates this event. And I think that is something that is difficult to just kind of like fabricate like at another event without the longevity that you get from this. I am still not convinced that Winthrop is the proper home for the long term for this tournament. Just because I think that, they need to be able to do things like plant trees, in my opinion, and start to do some landscaping on and around the course in order to make it feel like the course quality matches the prestige of the event itself. But it's undeniable that players think this is an incredibly important tournament, and it is truly one where you go there and you feel like this is like how events should be run in disc golf. And I've been to a lot of events. I've been to many world championships. Most of them are not like this. I think the Disc Golf Pro Tour is making some progress right now, but it's still, there's just another level to it at USDGC.
I am very torn about the idea of moving it because I think you're right that we probably it's going to get to the point we outgrow this course. It's just undeniable. But man, there is something about this course and the history and it does set up for some incredible drama, and not just on hole 17, but Garrett Gerthy's albatross on hole 5 with I didn't know was possible. It's awesome. It's great. It's such good golf and it's such a good event. And when Jonathan was talking about giving people the product that they paid for, right? Really giving them the bang for their buck. That's something that whenever I watch USDGC, I've always really felt. And I hope that in the future, I have not had the chance to attend it. It's on the other side of the country for me. But my hope is I want to go and just set up a lawn chair at hole 17 and spend the entire weekend on hole 17 and watch people throw their discs into the water. Except I would go take a quick pause to go watch Double G throw hole 5 again. Other than that, though.
But here's the thing, Josh. Here's the thing. What you're talking about is it's a great spot to sit, because if you sit really on either side of 17, but particularly on the right-hand side towards 18 and the clubhouse, if you were to put a lawn chair down there and just post up with your cooler, I'm telling you, that's a great spot, because you're seeing shots come into 17's green. You're seeing people tee off on 18, and you can see up the hill to where they're landing. You could also look across the water and see everybody playing hole 5. And you can see the shots coming into the green on 16. Like, it's pretty primo. Like, at some point, they're going to sell those seats for money. Like, you have to pay to be able to go there. They should put, like, sweet cabanas or something in there, because it's a good spot. It's a very good spot.
I'm sold. You're going to see me there next year, I hope.
Way station. Awesome. So obviously we'll talk more about USDGC in next week's Tuesday show as we get you ready for the tournament starting on Wednesday. A couple little things I want to get to real quick. Qualifying. A few people qualified at the Music City Open for the USDGC. And the names are, Josh, take it away.
We had 5 qualifiers for USDGC here, as always. And remember that those get pushed down, so if someone is already qualified, they do not count against it. So we go down to 19th. Joey Lutz qualifies, Sam Lee, Vino Makala, Dustin Keegan, and Luke Sampson. So, Charlie, we'd had this discussion previously that Vino Makala wouldn't come to the United States if he wasn't already qualified, right? Wrong. That man,
He bet on
nerves
himself.
of steel.
He bet on himself. He got the bag. Yeah, I think you had to finish top. I mean, arguably just top 30 to get in because of so many people who'd already qualified up above there. But you know, so I don't think that's too much of a stretch for Vinyl, but still, you know, it's a bold move. It's a bold move.
It's
In FPO, Throw Pink Women's Championship qualifiers were Deanne Carey. I can't believe she wasn't already in. And Kat Murch. So that's crazy. Everyone in the field at MCO is qualified for Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championship. So I guess by showing up, you qualified. Those last two spots earned there. So as we just found out, Sara Nicholson telling us no Monday qualifying for Throw Pink, maybe next year, and there will be Monday qualifying for the USDGC. I think you only get one shot this year, though. You can't like re-sign up and try again. So
I've always found that weird.
Yeah, I think at some point they should put a stream like of 18, maybe. Like you know, you don't want to do a full broadcast of that. I don't think people would really care. But like I would watch on 18 if there were like a couple people who are tight, you know, like 17, 18. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
A little YouTube stream. All right. So then, yes, the National Tour standings. They wrapped up this weekend, of course, the NT finale, the finale. And in MPO, your top 10 on the National Tour are, Josh?
Ricky Wysocki takes down the National Tour, which he was in. Was he in first going into this weekend?
He was. He had a small lead on Macbeth. Small
lead, crushed him thanks to almost 20 points coming out of this. So Ricky Wysocki wins it with 381 points. Paul Macbeth in second at 350. Adam Hammis in third. Kevin Jones in fourth. Chris Dickerson fifth. Garrett Gerthy sixth. Paul Ulibarri seventh. Calvin Heimberg eighth. Alden Harris in ninth.
Alden Harris.
Yeah. And that really comes, I think, from the fact that at the National Tour standings, the points do not drop off nearly as fast as Pro Tour do. And Alden played in every tournament in the National Tour. And so, you know, his worst finish was 18th and his best was 10th, but he still got 57 points for the 18th and 71 points for the 10th. So, you know, that good for Alden. Congratulations. James Conrad getting the 10th place spot. So congratulations to those 10. Over on the FPO side, this was a nail biter.
Spicy.
Hailey King takes it away from Katrina Allen by 4 points. If Katrina Allen had finished third, then she would have won.
That's right.
But because she finished in fourth, she lost. Actually, hold on. Let me make sure that's correct. Actually, no. I think Katrina Allen needed second place because I think third place gets 91 points.
Oh, let's check. We need a pure third. Yeah, 91. You're right. She would have been 1 point shy.
She would have been 1 point shy. So she had to take second with Hailey King winning the tournament.
And Hailey King winning is a big deal because of the differential. You get the big bonus for finishing first.
Yes, you do. So, Hailey King sneaks into first place in the National Tour standings.
And it obviously deserves it with 3 wins.
Agreed.
I think
completely
they should tinker with the points a little bit. I mean, it's a little crazy.
You're a little late on that take, Charlie.
Gosh. I mean, Katrina went fourth, second, first, fourth, which is very good. But I still think you should lose to first, sixth, first with Hailey skipped Delaware, but it dropped. So,
right.
So basically, you're comparing second, first, fourth to first, sixth, and I just think that winning 3 of the 4 tournaments that count towards your score should pretty much guarantee you a win, almost regardless of what happens in that 4th one.
I agree with you. It's a moot point at this point because see a National Tour.
Oh man. Yeah. Next year we need to.
Yeah, that's when you said they should tinker with those points. I was like, man, Charlie, come on.
They should. Whenever it resumes. They should retroactively. I don't know.
No, they should not retroactively give National Tour winners, Charlie.
Well, that's what they did last year. They retroactively changed the point system, and they were like, "Oh, we forgot to announce it. Too bad. Katrina Allen wins Player of the Year," and everyone was like, "What?" And then they were like, "You know what? Paige, you win too." And everyone was like, "What?" Think about that. It's so crazy. Anyway, congratulations to Hailey King. Clearly deserved it and wins $5,000 as a bonus, which is nice.
Yes. From there down, Katrina Allen takes second, Kona Panis in third, Sarah Hokerman fourth, Heather Young in fifth, Holly Finley in sixth, Missy Gannon in seventh, Valerie Mondahanu ties with Missy Gannon in seventh, Alexis Mondahanu takes ninth, and Jessica Weiss takes 10th.
All right. Kona Panis, I'm impressed by that. Third place. Because, her Waco win does not count here.
No, it does not.
But DDO, she took fifth, third at Masters Cup, sixth at Delaware, seventh at MCO. That's the difference for Kona Panis this year. It's not just that she's won an event, it's that she's been just much more consistently up towards the top, and top three, especially just being behind King and Allen. Pierce, by the way, for those wondering, all the way down in 16th. She skipped 2 events, and her other 2 of her finishes, as we were just discussing earlier, were 11th and 13th. So, just not really competing for the National Tour points this year. So, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I would say we got to look over at our picks also from the Music City Open. In MPO, your top 5, Mason, Ricky, Adam Hammis, and then tied for 4th, Garrett Gerthy, Kevin Jones, and Chris Dickerson. Charlie, you had 3. You had Dickerson, Wysocki, and Jones all in your top 5. I got 2 of them, Ricky and Chris. So there's that. Over on the FPO side, though, your top 5, Hailey King, Sarah Hokum, Macy Valadiaz, Katrina Allen, and Valerie Mondahanu. You had 2 for FPO, King and Allen, and I had 3, Sarah Hokum, Katrina Allen, and Hailey King. So we both take 5 points. That's very bad for me because I'm something like 20 points or more behind. I don't have the totals in front of me right now.
I think we should double the points from here on out for right picks.
Okay. All right.
So,
I mean, they're big tournaments. Like that feels okay. That doesn't
2 points for picking a top 5er, 10 points for picking a winner.
50 points if you have a perfect pick.
If you have a perfect top 5.
Okay. All right. There's a chance. So you're saying there's a chance.
There's a chance.
I also lose the over-under this week. Vinyl Makala did not place top 10, which means that we are at a 9-7 due to the Pro Tour payouts as well. I thought the over-under was going to save me. I am now in serious doubt about that.
It's looking grim. Real quick, tell us about your hat. I see Mansfield.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I am actually running for Pocatello City Council.
Wow.
Yeah, so I didn't have enough on my plate, I decided, and wanted to add some more work. One of the reasons, interestingly enough, we have some current city council members who are not up for re-election this year, but the seats that kind of balance them out are. There was a proposal during the recent budget debate from these 3 council members to cut all recreational parks and seasonal parks and rec workers, which include, I know one who is primarily hired and works on disc golf courses here in Pocatello. We have a full-time employee who maintains some up in the mountains because it's a cross-country ski course in the winter, and then a disc golf course in the summer. And so he works full-time to maintain that during the summer, and his position was one listed to be cut. And so this is not the only reason I am running for city council. There's a lot to go into it. But part of the reason why is that, I'm a big proponent of parks, given all our disc golf courses. And so, I'm getting engaged, and it's important. So
you got some swag? Like, are you like canvassing the town and like?
Oh yeah, I've got signs in. I was in the homecoming parade for the local university last week.
Do you have like a campaign manager? Is this like a whole?
I do.
Thing? Wow,
yeah, I have
wow.
a campaign manager. I mean, it's public record, so you can see it if you were to go look. So I feel it's not weird that I tell you, but I've raised almost $10,000 by the end of September for a city council race. Yeah. So
are you ahead of your competitors in fundraising?
Yes, very much so. I'm well ahead of my competitors. I have already earned more money than any sitting council member has earned in their previous election.
So what are you telling the people? You know, like is this the start of like we're going to lose you on the Upshot? You're about to be
no
state senator or something.
No, I mean the big thing is like it's coming at a time when and these races are not partisan. They are the municipal races in Pocatello do not have partisan affiliation. And I've got endorsements from everything from like real estate developers to unions, because including like the ban, like county Republicans are hosting a debate and are considering endorsement. So is the teachers union. I mean, I've got both sides because of how important this election is right now.
So are people pretty upset about this, like slash the budget of recreation?
Yeah, well, so recreation was one of it was actually it was affectionately referred to as the hit list. It had 39 city employees on it, listed by name of who she wanted to cut.
Wow.
It included things like the mechanic for the fire engines, which is a union protected job.
That seems like a bad choice.
It included like police stenographer, the public information officer at the police department. This
got to be a big. I mean, Pocatello is not that big a city, right? I mean,
50,000,
wow.
60,000.
Wow.
It's people are upset. People are very upset.
And so is your platform basically, I don't want to do these things?
Yeah, basically it's Pocatello is right at the crossroads of two major interstates. We are in interstates that lead you both to Boise as well as Salt Lake. And so people pass through Pocatello all the time, and we just really haven't been experiencing a ton of growth because of a lack of investment. And so that's really the biggest point of my platform. It's funny, I gave a 3-minute testimony at a public hearing. And remember, I did 8 years of competitive speech and debate.
That's true.
And so
you're very well positioned to be a politician.
Yeah. I was asked by some people to just go give a 3-minute testimony at the public hearing to budget debate. And I just went and talked about like why I think it's a terrible idea to cut this many city resources. And then I actually was reached out to by the fire and the police union, and they asked me to run as their official candidate.
Wow.
So that's how I got in the race. And here I am with some merch.
Posted. When's the election?
The election is November 2nd.
Okay.
Yep, it's in November. You can find my Facebook, Josh Mansfield for City Council, and you can see some updates. So,
oh my gosh, amazing! All right, well, I will follow up.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, that is going to do it for today's show. Make sure you check out our subscriber bonus segment. We're talking about some of the biggest controversies in disc golf history. I don't know if this Ricky thing with Mason Ford counts as a controversy. It's more of a conspiracy theory. We could do a separate thing on conspiracies sometimes. But controversies in disc golf. Hole 9 USDGC. This is bordering on that. It's bordering on that. But it seems like every year there's something with USDGC. So join us there. discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. And it's less than $4 a month. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long. Enjoy your weekend, everybody.